Hey there, and welcome to the A.D.K Rock and Metal Network. I am Dave Does, one of your hosts, and unfortunately there's no Andy or Kirk with me to join in on this discussion. But today's video, I'm going to be talking about how the alcohol companies and, of course, the government is destroying music venues. Now, how are they particularly destroying music venues? Well, it's pretty simple. Over the last maybe 20, 30 years, the price of running music venues has massively gone up. The music industry as a whole, especially, what we're talking about here is grassroots venues. We're not talking about big things like your O2s, etc., because that's a very different kettle of fish. But as far as your grassroots venues, these are the two massive things. So we talk about the government, and things like business rates have massively hurt the industry, because you've got to remember, these are venues that, as a music venue, they don't have other forms of income coming in. They make their money from live events. So when people are coming in, they spend money at the bar, that pays the salaries, etc. They haven't got a bistro, they haven't got lunchtime menus and stuff like that. That's not the mainstay of the business, and this is why a lot of pubs have moved to the gastro bars and have got rid of live music, etc., unless it's like a rock band on a Saturday night. And the reason behind that is it's simply they make their money from food and things like coffee than they do on alcoholic beverages. Now, I'm going to give you as a reference point. So back in the mid-90s, if you were to go to a local grassroots music event, you'd pay between sort of £3 and £5 for a entry to a live event, which may have up to four bands playing. So that's £3 to £5, and your average price for a pint would have been around £1.50 a pint. So if you were going out for a night, you had £20, you could easily get yourself 6 pints or so, plus have a pay for your ticket with £20 and have a little bit of money left over, a bag of chips and stuff, and get home for 20 quid. Great night out. And you've got to remember, back in the 90s, we did have more expendable income. We have less expendable income because, unfortunately, cost of living has gone up considerably more than the amount of money you earn. So the amount of money you have is even less than what you had back then. So £20 was great for a weekend. Now, since then, we've fast forward 30 years, and the price of an average pint can be up as far as £6. We have now gone, we are now basically almost four times the amount. So we've gone from £1.50 to £6 a pint. This is ridiculous. But concert tickets, as far as door entry, haven't gone from £3 to £5 to £20. Or £12 for a local band. We are around the £5 to £7 for a local band. So yes, they've gone up, but they haven't gone up considerably. They've gone up by a couple of pounds. And you've got to remember, this is the money that goes back to the promoter and goes back to the bands. So the venue's not making any money on this. Again, so the venue is still not doing it. The bands are not making any money unless you pack the house out, and the promoter's not making any money because they're not getting anything back because they're paying for the sound engineer, etc. So door entry ticket prices for venues are so cheap for grassroots bands. They have not gone up anywhere near. They've gone up by a couple of pounds over 30 years. That's ridiculous. They have not gone up in line with inflation, but everything else has. So how do we fix this? Well, there's a couple of ways we can do this. We incentivize the alcohol companies. So we have seen over the years that prices of alcohol in supermarkets has gone up, but it's still way below the price of alcohol in bars and pubs. We need to reverse that. We need to switch that round. So we need to make it so that the price of alcohol in supermarkets is more expensive than it is to drink in a bar or pub. That's as simple as we can make it. So we need to incentivize the alcohol companies to enable bars to be able to sell. So when you buy a 12 pack of, I'm going to use Heineken Zero as an example, at a supermarket, it may cost you £10, so you're paying effectively 80 pence a bottle. So if that was at £1.20 a bottle or £1.50 a bottle in the pub, you'd probably still go out. But the problem is it's £3-4 in a pub, and this is because of the prices and the markup that the venues have to do to try and cover their business rates. We need to get business rates lower for music venues, as that is the only thing they're not there for anything else. They have no other way of subsidizing that income, and it's the creative arts industry. We need the government and the alcohol suppliers to focus on this, because supermarkets, you go to a supermarket, yes, you might buy some alcohol, But alcohol is not a high profit margin for supermarkets. Having worked in supermarkets, I know that that is not a high profit margin. We know where the profit margins generally in supermarkets are very low in comparison to most other industries. We know that their cafes and stuff are higher profit margins. So having worked in the hospitality industry and worked in the retail industry, I know that your profit margins are across a supermarket are less than 10%. So once you throw in all your costs, etc., you are talking in the 3-4% profit margin across a supermarket. So you really can't afford to be ranking up. So to be honest, they're already not going to be making much of a profit on the alcohol. So let's just can't they put their prices up? Why can't their charges go up on those? Yes, they're not going to make much on that, but let's let them focus on other areas. Give them subsidies on fresh meats, encourage healthy living, give them better prices on fresh food, and subsidise that through the farmers, etc., and let the government support the farmers, etc., through subsidies. Now, the next question I would then say is coffee shops, stuff like that. The coffee, price of a coffee in a supermarket, you're making about 80% profit. So just to give you an idea, when you go to a coffee shop, the cost of what it takes to make versus what they charge you is about 80%. That's why coffee shops pop up all over the UK, because the profit margin in coffee shops and sandwiches, etc., is so high. And the running cost of having 2 or 3 members of staff versus a £4 latte, which they charge you about £4 and it costs them about 60p at most to make it, including all their overheads. Well, coffee shops are a really good money earner. But this is where we need support for the local grassroots music venues. Alcohol companies and the government are the ones that are causing the problems. It's not the local scene. It's not the fact that people are not supported. The reason we talked with a music owner, venue owner the other day, we were talking about this, and we said the simple. We got asked by someone, said, well, what if you did free entry to your shows? Would that generate footfall? And I went, not really, no. Because if we charge £6-7 for a concert ticket, that's the price of a pint. Until we can get the cost come down, people cannot afford to go out more than once or twice in a month, because it's so expensive to have anything to drink on a night out, or to get food, or you used to go out with £20. Now you need to take £100 out just to make sure you can go out and not worry about having money. That's crazy, and it's not down to the bands who are trying to keep their merch prices low, the promoters who are trying to keep their concert prices low. They're just trying to cover their costs. When we do our A.D.K live events, we just try to cover our basic costs so that at least we have people through the door as much as we can, and we can pay the sound guy. We don't try to make money. We would love to pack out the place, because that means we can guarantee that the bands are getting a load of money as well, but we're just trying to cover the basic outlay and to put the show on and hopefully have enough people there so the bands have a good night. But yeah, we need help from the people that sell alcohol. We've got to get those prices down. It's just too expensive at venues. We've got to get it so you can go in and do the Wetherspoons equivalent of £2.50 a pint on draft. There's no reason why, based on what you can see, that they're selling the stuff in the supermarkets that cheap. So if they're packaging the same stuff up in the cans, why can't they put it into barrels and send it to the venue? Now, you could say it's the venues then marking up their prices to cover their overheads. Then subsidise it. Give it to them slightly cheaper. Do it on volume. Do the Wetherspoons model for the independents. Why can't you do that? Why can't the government get into there? Make it really expensive to buy alcohol in supermarkets. I've got no problem with that. That will encourage people, if they want to drink, head out to venues. Head out and enjoy and spend a night out. That's what we want. We want to encourage people out of their houses if they're going to do it. We don't want to encourage people having 20 cases of beer in the hallway, because it's a lot cheaper to drink. Don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. See you on the video sometime very soon. Take care.